Hey guys, this is John here in Los Angeles with the Alpha Channel update for Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. And first we've got the Yggdrasil deck. This is the box, right side up. A nice book in here, lots of cards. This card is Hun, Reassurance and Protection. So this is like your mom, your big sister, your aunt, grandma, whoever it is in your life that is Hun, the matron. The maiden, matron, and crone. This would be the matron, Hun. So these are Yggdrasil cards. They're very cool, black and white. You guys should check them out. It's a good deck. Today, we are, as you can see, I've got my Cyberfrog beanies, my all caps beanies spread out here across the couch. Today we are going to look at Rekt Planet by All Caps Comics. We're going to look at the first half. I have 4 copies of this book. This is Cyberfrog 2. I do have like a 1990s, I think a small ash can version of Warts and All. And I don't know that that is Cyberfrog 1. But, well, we'll get to it. This book, I want to say about all the good things before I light Ethan up about the bad things. Which is not always the way we do when our critical minds attach to the things that stand out negative first, and you have to take a moment and think about all the great things, because if you just light into someone for minor mistakes, you're basically a fucking asshole. And this art is amazing. This is Ethan's cover. This is his signature down here. And the story is ambitious. It's very big. It's very pronounced. It has a pronounced and nuanced. This is not a simple story. Not by any stretch of the imagination. This is not easy to do. Ethan has been off, this is where I get negative, in some small sense, a little bit more than he can chew. He's wearing a lot of hats, okay? He's a publisher. He's a concept artist. He's a writer, plot direction, editor, everything. He has to do all the artwork. He has to do all the composition and layout, which I know in different comic books, this is handled differently. I understand some writers go so far as to draw thumbnails for the artists for a certain angle, for a certain image. Me, I would have thumbnailed an entire book, and that doesn't give an artist any room to be creative. That's a terrible thing to do. If you're going to do that, you have to draw it yourself, which is kind of the situation I'm in. Ethan here has, like I said, has bitten off more than he can chew. And by chew, I mean present to the reader in a digestible way. And this is hard. The first 3 pages of this comic, from what I understand, now this is Cyberfrog 2. There may be a Cyberfrog 1 that I don't have that has come out in the last, 3 to 5 years. And I think that's probably the case. I think the murder, I have Death's Sting, Salamandroid Death's Sting. And there has to be something between that and this. If there's not, well, these first 3 pages were a real challenge, and they probably should have been about 10 or 12 pages. The first 3 pages, I'm confident in saying that Ethan compressed way too much into way too short a space because he was in way too much of a hurry to get to his main character. In a lot of ways, Cyberfrog isn't Ethan's main character. In significant ways, the main character isn't even Heather Swain. In the first half, I only read the first half of this today. I know I've been all negative. I haven't talked about any of the good shit. The main character in this first half of the book seems to be Lily. She seems to be the one driving the plot. She seems to be the one holding up the plot. Cyberfrog does a little bit of Achilles in that he's been wounded and he takes some time to rehab and he's not getting close to the community that he's found. But that's because he gets shot. And he gets stung by a murder hornet. So check this out. This is the Vespis lair in Philadelphia. They've pretty much taken over that city. And Cyberfrog is waking up. He is doing all the narrating here. This is all his narration boxes. This is all his narration boxes. I have to talk about the mistakes first because the mistakes happen first. The only image we get of Cyberfrog is him flying up through the air here in the background in this shot. God, where is it? Right here, under my finger. That's the only image of Cyberfrog in the first 3 pages. The first 3 pages. They would never do that with Conan or Tarzan. Let me hold this up again. Roy Thomas and John Buscema would have never done that with their main character. He's not in the splash page. He's not in the first 2 pages. I would be hard-pressed to say he's here. Heather Swain and Lily are here, but we don't get a big shot. There's no big shot. Where is the cover shot? There's supposed to be a cover shot inside the first few pages. Maybe I'm being a dick, but I think Ethan has crushed too much into too small of a space. And he continues. Sorry, I've been sneezing. Here we get this character Bob, who's been stung by a hornet that has followed Cyberfrog back to the Pine Barrens. What is it, 30 or 60 miles east of Philadelphia? And he explodes, which is cool, and it's surprising, but Cyberfrog also explains that he's not online, and Heather was hoping that he would rescue them, and now she knows he can't. But so this Bob character explodes, and a Vespis is there, and Cyberfrog fights it, and it stings him, and he kills it with its own stinger, which is very cool. This is the page I get that we had to wait and wait and wait, but Cyberfrog could have fought some Vespis on his way to Lily and Heather. That's what we should have seen. We should have seen a fight before he found them, and then we could have him find them wounded, and that would be basically the first issue. In a 22-page floppy, that would be the first issue. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good first issue. If you're going to do 30 of them, maybe not 300, but I think a series should aim for 30 issues. It's a little under 3 years. Well, 2.5 years. These guys, the Comics Gate guys, are crushing too much into too small of a space. Do a 12-issue series, but no, it's going to be a 12-issue series. Do an 18-issue series. Do a 6-issue series. Don't do these monster fucking books where you're trying to cram 6 issues into 1. You've got fuckheads like Eric July out there throwing out garbage. You don't have to pack this much good stuff into this small of a space. Let the story breathe. Please, let the fucking story breathe. Honestly, my other complaint is this is a little bit WB-ish. The way it's written is like cable television for tweens and 20-year-olds. This smacks of, is it Damon or Derek Berlanti who did all the DC shows? And maybe that's because Ethan came out of DC. But here's my second big complaint. So my first big complaint is you crammed too much into too little space. The second complaint is the characters and the lack of character development. It happens with Lily, but not with Cyberfrog and not with Heather. And it happens with this guy, Colin. Colin is developed as the villain. So here we have a white guy like Ethan, who's been canceled, who is routinely portrayed as the villain by the people in his space, taking another stocky, well-built, heavy white guy who should be a natural leader and making him into a villain. I expected fucking more from you. You should know better. This is what your enemies want. This is basically anti-white propaganda, Ethan. You should fucking know better. Heather is beautiful. Lily's cute. I don't care for little orphan Annie hair. I'm really lighting into him about this. I don't think I could tag Ethan on this because I haven't even said anything good. I love the art. I love the angles. I love the... This is a little bit much. The kids versus the adult soccer game is a little undeveloped. Again, you're compressing too much into too little space. I only read half of this book today, the first half. The first half of this book could easily be 3 issues. Could easily be 3 full fucking issues. 1, Cyberfrog fighting the Vespis to get to Heather and Lily. 2, Cyberfrog playing soccer with Lily and getting to know the group. 3, Heather and Cyberfrog walking out and Cyberfrog finding the Vespis who are, well, 3 we would have Colin. 2 and 3 would be Colin being a dick. I can't believe you fucking did this, man. Could have made him black. Comic books are supposed to be about putting bullies in their place. But not every white guy has to be the default bully. Why didn't you make the bully some little smarmy Jew who thinks he knows everything? Like, Bob, draw that actor Bob Baldwin. He'd be perfect. Here, Colin comes over and demands Lily give him a manicure and cut his hair. And Cyberfrog basically shuts him down and makes Lily laugh. And so that's the first time. So look, for the whole character development, everything that happened, it took this interaction where Cyberfrog stood up for Heather to a community bully to earn Lily's trust and admiration. I would expect Heather to be the character who can do that for herself and have Cyberfrog in the background laughing as Colin gets humiliated by her. Yeah, I read this part. This is Cyberfrog just kind of watching what's going on. Here we have Colin has a basically a Typhoid Mary character in his back pocket who's going to cause trouble for Cyberfrog and Heather, undoubtedly. And this is where Cyberfrog plays soccer. And then he and Heather go on a moonlit stroll. Now, this is a little weird. Here's some more of too much in too little space. You need kind of a panel where Heather says she's been terrified every day of her life since Cyberfrog's been gone. Before he, where he says, hey, there's Vespis following us. Get back to camp. But we don't get that panel. We just get Cyberfrog now following 2 Vespis out into the forest where they dig up the body of the guy that he killed earlier with Heather and Lily. And that is the first half of Cyberfrog Rekt Planet. I'm sorry I don't have a better review of it. It would probably be better if I had read more of the stuff before. It would probably also be better if this one comic were actually 6 fucking issues. I want more of it, Ethan, not less. Today is brought to you by Legacy of Mad Scientist and Legend of Ashley Fox. 2 awesome, fucking awesome books here on YouTube for you to listen to. If you think I'm wrong, fucking check them out. I dare you. This comic book does not compare to what Ethan's done. The story's better, and the character development is better, but the art and the composition, it's not even colored. We didn't put any money into it. It was just on our own. It's 10 years old already. So what right do I have to talk about stories? Today, I'm uploading chapter 22 of Lloyd C. Douglas's The Robe, in which Marcellus Gallio, son to Senator Lucan Gallio in the Roman Senate, jumps off a ship bound for Capua, bound for Capri or Capua, one or the other, or maybe Rome. He doesn't want to go back to Rome because he's going to be tried basically for treason and heresy and executed when he gets back. And he jumps off the ship, he jumps overboard and swims to Ostia. I believe when they're passing Ostia, which is the ship's like a mile offshore, swims to shore, almost kills him. And I don't want to give too much away, but he spends a few months in a small village getting to know the people, regular people, dealing with them. And, you know, he gets a job, makes a living for himself, and tries to have a positive influence on the community, which is a lot about what this is about. This is about a community up against an invasive species like America. Most of Europe, all white countries right now are faced with invasive species, blacks and Mexicans and Indians, East Asians, Indians, Pakistanis who think that they can invade our homelands and steal them from us. Ireland, Europe, it's happening everywhere white people are. And it's led by Jews. They're trying to, but the problem is there's more white people on the planet today than there ever have been. It only took Hitler 3 years to fix Germany. We're reaching a critical mass really quick. The next crusade will be fought at home. There will be a race war, and it will be open season between whites and non-whites. Watch. It's going to happen. They can keep the money, as long as they can keep the money running, it's fine. But as soon as the money ends, the blacks are going to go nuts and we're just going to start shooting them. And that's what this book is about. The Vespas are clearly an invasive species, like blacks, like Mexicans. They have no right to speak English. If it were up to me, I'd make it a capital crime. I am the demon.